Hi there, I'm Drew Badger, the world's #1 English fluency guide, and it is a pleasure to welcome you to another advanced listening practice lesson. As a just practice thing for you, I recommend you actually trying to say that introduction. Just try to say it like me if you can. You can even try saying like advanced listening practice lesson. I get emails from people saying that they like the pronunciations of particular words. It's really interesting how I pronounce things, and that's why I get actually quite excited about the new advanced ultimate guide to pronunciation that we'll be releasing in Scroll Phonics. So when we release that, you'll get to hear over 2,000 different words and expressions that I use, and you'll be able to go back and practice so you can sound just like me, or really just develop the ear for a native English speaker from America, that accent. Anyway, just a quick thing about that. I'm happy to be releasing that soon just because people do enjoy listening to the sound of my voice, and so you'll have that very soon. Anyway, welcome to this lesson. This is, again, something that if you'd like to practice and you have a little bit more trouble understanding the fast speech or the words, the blending that I use, do go back and enjoy some of the previous videos that have more of a slower speed and that they're kind of focusing on a particular lesson thing. These videos, this series, Advanced Listening Practice, is where I just talk about whatever and at a much faster speed. So if you're ready, let's begin. In the previous video in this series, I was talking about listening to your heart, that kind of thing. And this video, I wanted to kind of continue talking about that, but in a slightly different way. And this is more talking about, I guess, like, kind of as you get older or as you think more about your life and what you're doing, you tend to try different things. And that's why I was talking about in that previous video about listening to your heart, or that little voice in the back of your head that's saying, hey, you should try doing that thing. Even if you feel nervous about it, or you're scared, or maybe you don't know how it will work out. Like, if you get that feeling, you should follow that. Because I guarantee you, like, when you listen to your voice and that little voice in the back of your head, and it takes you to a good place, you'll be happy that you did, and it will make that ability to listen to yourself much stronger. So you can actually have better. Make better choices about life without having to have like all kinds of information, because honestly, there are just many times where it doesn't matter. Even if you have lots of information, you make a choice and then it ends up not working out very well for you. So I've noticed kind of in my own life, when I try to think too much about something, I end up making a bad decision about something. But if I just kind of relax and listen and feel which is the better choice, I tend to make the right choice. Anyway, this is related to this, and I just wanted to tell a story about kind of like, I guess, just to give a tale for you to make sure that whatever the choices you're making in your life, are you doing the things that you should be doing or that you say you'd like to be doing, that kind of thing. So this was back maybe, I don't know, like 10 years ago. Yeah, I guess, well, maybe, yeah, a little bit, maybe 8 years ago, 10 years ago, something like that. And I was learning about like real estate and other things. And I was telling people, yeah, I want to like get into real estate. I'd really like to like learn more about that. I didn't want to become like a realtor or something like that. I wanted to buy properties because I thought it would be fun to like fix them up, and it's something physical I can build and maybe do something interesting with it and then rent them or sell them or something like that. So I talked about it but when I was in situations like I lived in Seattle for a while, for a couple of years. I actually worked as I was a manager at a hotel for a while. I worked at a sushi restaurant too, but it's kind of beside the point for this lesson. But anyway, so I was living in Seattle, and when I was talking to, I was talking to different apartment managers about a place I could live, it didn't really occur to me to like, okay, I'm going to like maybe become a manager of a particular apartment, something like that. Like, I just didn't think about that. So even though I was in the back of my mind thinking about real estate, like the situation was in front of me, but I like didn't see it. And so when one of the people that was interviewing me just to become like a regular renter, I was just looking for an apartment. I wasn't looking for a job, but he was saying, oh, like, why don't you become like the manager of this place? I don't know. He just wanted me to become the manager. And so I said, okay, fine, whatever. So I was doing like kind of some cleaning and a little bit of like managing stuff, but not a big deal in the apartment thing. And I had another friend, because I had worked on a fishing boat in Alaska for a little while, like a little bit before I went to Seattle. So I lived in Alaska for a while, then came back to Japan for a little bit. And then when I was living in Seattle again, I was also doing the guy that was the brother of the guy whose boat I was living on in Alaska. He lived around Seattle, and so he was kind of doing real estate stuff. And so it was really funny that like while I was on the boat in Alaska, so I was out there for about I guess 3 months and a little bit. This was in the summer of, I think, however many years ago it was, but before I went out to Seattle. And so I was reading books on the boat about, real estate, whatever. And I'm kind of like drawing that to me. So I had no idea that the captain of the ship, his brother, was into real estate, that kind of thing. And so when I was thinking about it, like, when I actually got to Seattle and then I was able to connect with him, I kind of like just the captain was like, he liked me and he was like, oh, why don't you connect with my brother and you can talk about real estate and like learn a little bit from him. And like I kind of did, but I didn't really like, it was weird. It's like I had been learning about it and kind of like looking for that opportunity, but like didn't do anything with that opportunity. And it's one of those things that I don't regret now. I can go back and learn about real estate at any time, but like the thing that I kind of missed the chance on was listening to like the voice that was like, hey, like Drew, like wake up. Like there's an opportunity around you right now where like you have been learning about this and now you're being like, you're like connected with like the owner of this building as an apartment manager, and if you would just ask him for like advice or learning how to do that, he would probably teach you. And this other guy who's like able to teach about real estate or whatever, like I'm sure he would be able to teach you a lot too. But I didn't notice it. It was really weird, and I didn't realize it until after I left Seattle. And I think the reason was probably because I was more interested in coming back to Japan and doing the things that I do out here than in staying in America. So even though like I still think about real estate and it's a lot of fun to think about, going back into that and learning more about that when I return home at some point in the future, I guess I just wasn't really thinking about it at the time. So what I'm kind of getting at here is kind of a long story, but what I'd like you to do is think about, is there a situation in your life now where it could be something that's like really valuable or something that maybe it's leading you in a particular direction, even something that you really want, but it's like you don't notice it. And maybe you could comment down below if you've had a similar experience, even if it's not current in your life, but something where like all of these things were kind of pushing you in a direction that was like a positive direction for you, but you just like didn't take it for some reason. And so I thought about that a lot after I left Seattle, and it was like, wow, like I was in this situation where I had kind of learned about these things and now I was able to find people that could kind of teach me about that. But I didn't take advantage of the situation. I like just actually didn't notice it for some weird reason. And for, maybe it's not even such a weird reason. Again, I kind of wanted to leave the country and I wasn't really thinking about staying in America anyway at that point. But just the fact that like all of those things came together, because I was just like, I think I've talked about this earlier in this series when I talk about the rules of fluency and how you're really focused on something, even if you don't know exactly how you will do it, and you keep pushing towards that thing. That's what's going to bring you success. The people that wait and they try to think about it and make sure that like they have every angle or every maybe way that something could go positive or it could go negative, something like that. They try to think about all those things and then they end up doing nothing. So that's why most of the time I will continue to move, and even if I don't know exactly how I'm going to do something or what's exactly the best way to do it, I will just kind of keep moving and keep pushing towards that thing. And eventually, I end up making it. But on this occasion, and I'm sure it's happened to me at other times in my life, but when that happens to you, like, make the choice to kind of open your eyes and see, like, what are the forces in my life right now pushing me to do? Whatever those happen to be. And it could be something positive. Hopefully, it's not anything negative, but presumably, it's something you want, and either you don't do it because I guess you don't think about it, like you didn't notice it, just like I didn't notice it, or you're scared about that thing. And it's okay to be scared about something. It's okay to say like, well, I really want to go to America, and my friend is saying, hey, come to America. He has like a place for me to stay, and like I could get a job there and these other things, but I'm a little bit nervous. So like you have the opportunity, but either you don't notice it or you do notice it and you're just like something is stopping you from taking that chance. And that's the point where we come back to like listening to that voice inside you, wherever that is, in your head or your ear or your shoulder or wherever it happens to be. So when you think about that, don't make the mistake I did. And I'm happy, like, I kind of did the thing that I did. I'm sure I would have been fine whether I'm learning about real estate for a little bit or I was doing, like, working at a sushi place or whatever. It doesn't really matter. But the point is, like, my life was kind of pushing me in that way. And I wanted to go that way, but I didn't. And I'd like you to think about if there's anything in your life right now, maybe not that you're unhappy with it, but that maybe is not, like, happening as well as you'd like it to be, because you're kind of holding yourself back, either because you don't know or because you're kind of nervous about that thing. So think about the things that you really want to do, whatever that happens to be. And you can also think about, is it like feeling good for you to do that thing? Like when you think about, yes, like, should I have another baby? Or should I leave? Or like, should I go to a different country to do something? Should I make some major decision like that? Just relax and just feel, again, like flipping a coin, like I talked about in the previous lesson in this series, where you're flipping a coin and you decide, like, how do you feel right in that moment where you flip the coin and you see if it's heads or tails. And maybe you, like, think like, oh no, like I didn't really want that one, so you choose to do the other thing instead. But try to listen to the actual feeling that you get, not like what your head is telling you. And if you can train yourself to do this more, it's going to help you make better decisions. But it will also tell you kind of like if you're bullshitting or not. Now, to be bullshitting about something just means, like, are you like saying you want to do something but not actually talking about it? Like I tell people, hey, I want to get fit and like work out or whatever, but I never do. So I'm just bullshitting about that. So I say, hey, I want to learn about real estate, but when opportunities come to me, like I don't take them. Now, I think in my case, like for that specific example, I just like really didn't want to be in Seattle at that point anyway, so I think maybe I'm okay. But it was just a very clear example that I learned from, and I hope you can learn from it as well, where if you're listening to that voice in the back of your head, it can teach you to do things or show you to do things in a way that even if you're uncomfortable or scared, listen to that voice. Like your body is not going to tell you anything or tell you to do something that would be bad for you. Think about it like that. So your body would not be like, well, yeah, go to America because you're going to die out there or whatever. Like your body knows already, like if it's a good thing, like, yeah, that's a good decision. Now we gotta like make Drew like actually do that thing. Anyway, just some more food for thought, something to think about, some food for thought instead of food for your stomach. But I will leave it with this for now. Hopefully, just giving you, again, something to think about, but I do hope you've enjoyed this lesson. If you have, do like this video, share it with a bunch of people, become a subscriber to the YouTube channel if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next lesson video. Bye-bye. To continue learning, click on the link in this video to download Speak English Naturally, our free guide to speaking and sounding like a native English speaker. The guide reveals the 3 most important kinds of conversational English you must learn if you want to sound native, and will help you experience instant improvement in your fluency and speaking confidence. To download your free guide on a mobile device, click on the link in the upper right of this video. To download your free guide from a computer, click on the link in the lower right of this video. I look forward to seeing you in the guide.